Hi everybody, today we're going to look at different techniques to find the area of a triangle. So up to now we have one equation that we know how to use to find the area, and that's the area is 1/2 times the base times the height of the triangle. Okay, so of course into your calculator you can always write that as 0.5 times the base times the height. So just to refresh our memories, I'll do a quick example of that. So we're going to call this theorem 1. So using theorem 1, find the area of triangle ABC. So theorem 1 says that the area is equal to 1/2 times the base times the height. This, if we're looking at this triangle, our base is 16 and our height is BH, so that's 5. So 1/2 times 16 is 8, times 5 is 40. So the area is 40 units squared. All right, so nothing shocking about that. You've done that for years now. Let's look at one more that's a little bit trickier. So in this question, I'm asking you to find the area of triangle ABC. So feel free, if you want to try these problems before I go over them, to pause the video and give it a shot, see if you can work through it, and then follow along with my solution. So for the area of ABC, we're going to use the same equation. The issue here, of course, is that we don't have the height, we don't have the base, we have the height. So the height here is 15. The base, we're not given. Can we find the base? Absolutely, right? So we can use, since it's a right triangle, we can use Pythag. So we can find B. We can use Pythag, so 15 squared plus B squared is equal to 25 squared. If you do that, 25 squared minus 15 squared, the square root of that. Check with your calculator, but you get that B is 20. Now that we have B, we can just plug that into our formula for area. So area is 1/2 times B times H. So the area, therefore, is 150 square units. Okay, so nothing really new here. Using trig, I want to show you a couple different methods to find the area of the triangle. And that's basically depending on what you're given. Okay, so up to now we've been given the base and the height, or a way to find the base and the height. Next thing I'm going to show you is called Heron's formula. And this is a super useful little formula if you are not given the height of the triangle, but you're given all three sides. Okay, so the area is the square root of Q times Q minus A times Q minus B times Q minus C. So that's the square root of all of that. And Q here, so A, B, and C are the sides of the triangle. Q is going to be the sum of A, B, and C divided by 2. You could also think of this as the perimeter divided by 2. Okay, so this formula, again, very useful for when you know all of the sides of a triangle. So let's see an example of this in action. So first example, it says find the area of ABC, and we're given the 3 different sides. If you want to label our sides, because we know we like to do that, here's A, here's B, and here's C. So a good way to start, I imagine, would be to find Q. So we can use that to plug into our formula. So Q, again, is A plus B plus C all over 2. That's 6 plus 8 plus 4 over 2. That gives you 9. Okay, so Q is 9, we know A, B, and C. Let's plug it into our formula. So the area is equal to the square root, big square root, of 9 times Q minus A. So that's 9 minus 6 times Q minus B, 9 minus 8, times Q minus C, which is 9 minus 4. Okay, so that's the square root of 9 times 3 times 1 times 5, which is the square root of 135. If you put that into your calculator, you get that area is about 11.6 units squared. Okay, why don't we do one more example of that just so that we feel good and confident. Here's another example. So again, find the area of triangle ABC. For some reason that part of the question was cut off. So here's side A, B, and C. It looks from first glance that we're only given 2 sides, but we're also told that these 2 sides are even. So I know that this is also going to be 10. We can start by calculating Q. So Q is going to be A plus B plus C all over 2. That gives you 19. So then my area is going to be the square root of 19 times 19 minus 10 times 19 minus B, which is 18, times 19 minus C, which is 10. Okay, make sure that you do everything under the square root before you take the square root. Okay, so that's going to be the square root of 19 times 9 times 9 times 1. If you plug that in your calculator, you get that the area is 39.2 units squared. Okay, so I mean, for these triangles, I know that there are different ways that you could split up a triangle and maybe solve for the height, but this is just a really nice and efficient way to find the area of a triangle when you're given all 3 sides. All right, so that's Heron's formula in a nutshell. The final formula that I have for you is, I call it the side angle side. So if you in a triangle have 2 side lengths and the angle that's formed by those 2 sides, so the angle in between the sides, then we can use this formula. So I give you all 3 versions of this formula just because I can. I think it makes it a little simpler. So it's half of the product of the 2 side lengths that you're given times the sine of the angle in between them. So if you're given angle C and you're also given side length A and B, you'll use the first one. Okay, so it's 1/2 A times B times sine C. Okay, if you're given angle B and side A and C, you're going to use the second one. If you're given angle A and also side lengths B and C, you're going to use the third one. So let's look at an example of that. So this says find the area of ABC. We're given an angle, we're given 2 sides. So why don't we, again, start by labeling our triangle. This will be side A, this will be side B, this will be side C. Okay, so we're given angle A and also side lengths B and C. So we're going to use, I guess, the first option. So we're going to use that the area is 1/2 times B times C times sine A. So it's going to be 1/2 times B, which is 15, times C, which is 10, times sine of A. So A is 40. Plug that into your calculator, and you get that the area is equal to 48.2 square units. Okay, so this is a very simple formula to use, but also very powerful. Again, if these are the things that you're given, it makes it very, very easy for you to be able to solve for the area of a triangle. Let's do another example of that. So this one says also to find the area of triangle ABC. We have our sides. Here's B, here's A, here's C. Since we're given angle B, we might as well, I guess we're going to use the second option. So the area is equal to 1/2 times A times C times sine B. All right, so that's going to be 1/2 times A, which is 8, times C, which is 10, times sine B, which is 30. You plug that into your calculator, and you actually get that the area is 20 units squared, exactly 20. Okay, so a common mistake would be to look at this side A, and say, well, that kind of looks like the height. So it's only the height, remember, if it's the altitude. So that it's only the height if you're making a right degree, 90-degree angle with the base, okay? And there's no, if it was like this, then we'd be able to use 8 as the height, but it's not, right? It's not labeled as that. It doesn't quite look like a 90-degree angle. Even if it did, we can't assume that it is, okay? So you cannot use, you don't have the base in this case anyway, but just be careful with trying to use the 1/2 base times height where, you don't know your base or your height for sure, okay? Let's do one more example. So this says find angle. Okay, so this one's a little bit different. We want to find angle BCA if the area of ABC is 11.6 square meters. Okay, so we can label our sides. So instead of looking for the area, in this case, we are looking for the angle. It's interesting. So we're going to use, what angle are we given? Or what angle do we want? It's C. So we're going to use that the area is AB times sine C. The area is 11.6, and that's equal to 4 times 6 times sine C. That's what we're looking for. So 4 times 6 is 24. So if we do that and divide by 24, it's equal to, good, sine C. So if we do that, we get that sine C is 0.48333. To find C, then, we have to use the inverse sine, right? So we can just take the inverse sine of that number, 333, dot. And you get that C, plug that in your calculator, is about 29 degrees. Okay? So we could do this also if, you could solve for a missing side as well this way. Okay? So it's possible for me to give you the area and an angle and a side, and for you to solve for the other side that makes up that angle. Okay? So what I want you to do for tomorrow, do it tomorrow. You watch the video today. If you like, you can do this tomorrow. Is go to the week of April 27th course pack and do questions number 1 and 2. Okay. One note, just don't submit it. Okay. Submit it at the end of the week and submit it at the same time as the rest of the work. Okay. I set that up to be easier for you and also to be easier for me. Okay. So instead of doing multiple submissions, submit once, submit at the end of the week. Okay. If you have any questions, please stop by my avails. Have a great day.